Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in this evening. Today I have decided to do something different, although something quite the same at the same time. I will be reading some Elder Scrolls Online lore while sitting by the fireplace. I figured it does make sense to do that. It's quite relaxing, and it does create the perfect setting rather than you looking at me reading off of my phone. It makes sense, right? I think so. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I'll talk about the setting, the plot, and then dive into the 3 different factions, talk about some characters, and just see where we end up. The game is set on Tamriel 2E582 during Interregnum, a period of time between the assassination of the last potentate, Savorian Jorok, and the rise of Tiber Septim, where there was chaos, bloodshed, and no emperor on the Ruby Throne. And just so that everyone knows real quick, I have no Elder Scrolls experience. The first game I ever played was Elder Scrolls Online, so I'm not familiar with, the characters in the previous games, Skyrim, Oblivion, whatever. I haven't played those games. I do want to play them. I am definitely an Elder Scrolls fan now from playing online, but as of right now, I don't know how to say these names if they are prominent characters, so I apologize for that. Several years prior, the Cyrodiilic Emperor Varen Aquilarius desired to become Dragonborn in order to light the dragon fires in the Imperial City, thus legitimizing his claim to the Ruby Throne. The sorcerer Manimarco was able to convince him that he knew a ritual that would accomplish this, but that it required the Amulet of Kings. Along with the leader of the Dragon Guard, Saisahan, the half-giant Laris Titanborn, and the High Chancellor of the Elder Council, Abner Tharn, they became the 5 Companions. And by the way, one more tangent. If you are planning to play Elder Scrolls Online and you care about spoilers, this may spoil the storyline, the central storyline for you, so just a little heads up. If you don't want to know anything, you should stop watching this video right now. They were able to retrieve the Amulet of Kings and begin the ritual in 2E578. At that moment, when the ritual began, Manimarco used his dark magic to immobilize the others and reveal his true intentions. He was an agent of Moloch Ball, and the ritual in fact destroyed the barriers between Nirn and Oblivion in an event known as the Soul Burst. This event allowed Moloch Ball to initiate the Plane Meld, a forceful merging of worlds. Once the ritual was completed, aftershocks were swept across every corner of Nirn. Mages died or went mad. Red Mountain trembled in Morrowind. Wow. My apologies, I just got... Like, you ever read something and then an ad pops up and it kind of just scrolls you up? That's pretty much what happened just now. Mages died or went mad. Red Mountain trembled in Morrowind. Earthquakes shook Skyrim, and heavy storms devastated the coastlines of Elsewhere and Valenwood. The constellation of the Serpent grew so large that it seemed to threaten every star sign at once. The Tharn family, rulers of Cyrodiil through Empress Regent Clivia Tharn, made a pact with Manimarco, the King of Worms, who agreed to supplement the Imperial's forces by resurrecting their soldiers. Except for Clivia's father, Abner, who opposes Manamarco. Molokbal is harvesting the souls of mortals for more power. The hero, known as the Vestige, that's where we come in, is an adventurer whose soul has been taken, which allows them to constantly return to life. The player is killed by Manamarco in a sacrificial ritual, and they are brought to Cold Harbor, where they awaken to find a mysterious man known as the Prophet, who, with the help of Lyris Titanborn, helps the Vestige escape Cold Harbor, freeing the Prophet but also imprisoning Lyris within Cold Harbor. Once the Vestige escapes Cold Harbor, they awaken in Tamriel and are let loose upon the dangerous world. By the way, also, I actually have, let me see if I can show this to you guys. Let me stand up real quick. I actually have Lyris Titanborn's axe. Pretty neat, right? Yeah, I got it through an event. I purchased it with a ticket from doing events. Wasn't able to get the rest of her outfit, but the axe is pretty awesome, so I'm satisfied nonetheless. Let me sit back down here. But yeah, so in this game there are three major playable factions fighting against one another in the conflict known as the Alliance War. Those factions, made up of different races found throughout Tamriel, are the Aldmeri Dominion, the Daggerfall Covenant, and the Ebonheart Pact. That's my faction, and I messed that up. Wow. So let me run through the three factions really quick. Or not really quick, really slow. So, let's start with the Aldmeri Dominion. This alliance is led by Queen Irene, consists of Altmer, Bosmer, and Khajiit. So the Altmer are like high elves. There is an ambulance going by, so I'm just gonna mute this really quick. Hold on 1 second. Alright, we're good, I think. The Altmer, the Bosmer, and the Khajiit. The Altmer are the High Elves, I think. The Bosmer are the Wood Elves, and the Khajiit are the Kitty Cats. It controls the Somerset Isles, Elsewhere, and Valenwood. The Dominion was formed by the Altmer after Queen Irene united the provinces of Valenwood and Elsewhere with the Somerset Isles. Then we have the Daggerfall Covenant. This alliance is led by King Emeric, and it consists of Orcs, Bretons, and Redguards. It controls High Rock, Hammerfell, and the recently recognized province of Orsinium. The Covenant was formed by High King Emeric after the cooperation of Bretons, Orcs, and Redguards during King Ranzer's War. Finally, we have the Ebonheart Pact, which is the pact that I'm in, or the faction that I'm in. This alliance is led by Joran, the Scald King, and it consists of the Dunmer, aka the Dark Elves, Argonians, aka Best Lizard Boys and Girls, and the Nords. It controls Skyrim, Morrowind, and the Black Marsh. The pact was formed by the three races through a common hatred of the recently invading Akaviri, and fear of being conquered by the other alliances. Despite the mistrust between their member races, the pact is remarkably stable. And it is true, of all the three factions, the Ebonheart Pact is the most diverse. That is to say, none of these three people have anything in common from a heritage standpoint. You know, you can say that in terms of like the Alliance, or the Aldmeri Dominion rather, all three of these races are pretty old, and so they consider themselves a little wiser. You know, the Daggerfall Covenant, you have the two different types of humans, and then the Orcs are kind of like outcasts. So, the Ebonheart Pact definitely has the least in common, but at the same time, they might have the strongest bond. I swear to God, the guy's just standing in front of my window with this fucking ambulance villains and just doing it on purpose. Alright, I digress nonetheless. And then we have other factions in the game. We've got the Fighters Guild, which is a guild of mercenaries for hire, largely involved with destroying Moloch Ball's presence on Nirn. They are led by Seasol Colors. That is typically how Argonians are named. They have these unique names like that. We have the Mages Guild. That is a guild of individuals devoted to the magical arts, largely involved with collecting old books and lore in order to preserve them. They are led by their founder, Vanis Galarian. We've got the Undaunted, and that's a brave collection of like-minded mercenaries and adventurers who seek to achieve riches and glory and do not have any sort of leader. They are involved with dungeons. And then we have the Thieves Guild. These are a shady band of thieves, smugglers, and other ne'er-do-wells seeking riches and hoping to regain their former glory. Then we have the Dark Brotherhood. This is probably my favorite. They're a highly feared brotherhood of assassins, responsible for the deaths of many nobles, priests, kings, and all those subject to the curse of the Black Sacrament. Their members live in the hidden sanctuaries scattered across Tamriel. No one knows their locations but the assassins themselves. Then we have the Sijic Order. These are ancient and mysterious scholars. It is said the Sijic Order were the first in Tamriel to study the secrets of mysticism, or the old ways. This study has allowed the Order to develop knowledge and power not found anywhere else in Tamriel. And there are rumors that they have obtained the ability to manipulate the flow of time itself. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. I think I should just start talking about the characters. I could talk about like different classes and stuff, but I don't know that that's necessarily that. I'll touch on it. So there's 4 classes in the game. You've got Dragon Knight, Templar, Sorcerer, and Nightblade. Classes only give players 3 exclusive skill lines, and they don't affect a character's other choices. For example, you can be a stealthy sorcerer who wears heavy armor and wields a bow. Any class can play any of the 3 roles: damage dealing, tanking, and healing effectively, but some classes do certain roles better than others. For example, a Templar is typically better at healing than a sorcerer, and a Dragon Knight is usually better at tanking than a Nightblade. It's pretty flexible in how you build your character, allowing you to build their ideal skill set from the beginning with a few restrictions to dictate what you choose. Character setups, universally known as builds, are typically divided into 2 categories: Magicka builds and Stamina builds. As their name imply, if a character uses Magicka in combat significantly more than Stamina, then they are using a Magicka build, and vice versa. Characters with Magicka builds normally utilize light armor and magic, while characters with Stamina builds are often seen using medium armor and weapons like bows and 2-handed swords. Hybrid builds can also be used, but they are not as effective at dealing damage as a purely Magicka or purely Stamina build. And I am a Stamina Dragon Knight, by the way, in case you're wondering. That was pretty obvious, I would imagine, from looking at me. Stamina Dragon Knights use medium armor, but the good thing is you can kind of use costumes to make yourself look like you're wearing heavy armor, so it doesn't really matter. You would do well to wear the correct armor and then just use a wardrobe to make yourself look the way you want to look. Okay, let's start talking about the characters. Let's start with my boy, Varen Aquilarius. I like him. He's a cool dude. Whoa. Okay. So, once the prophet was a man of vigor and strength. Some harrowing experience has aged and diminished him, leaving him blind and almost feeble. Varen was born in 2E 536 as the son of a Clovial duke, and later became the Duke of Chorrol. He had an unknown sibling whose son, Carolus Aquilarius, in turn became Varen's nephew. viewed him as a role model. When Leovic, third of the short-lived Reachman dynasty, known as the Longhouse Emperors, assumed the Ruby Throne, he legalized Daedra worship across the empire. This outraged much of the population and prompted Varen to spark a rebellion. He left his home front, the Gold Coast, in the hands of his nephew, Carolus. Don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Using large amounts of stone, Varen constructed a wall spanning around the Gold Coast, later dubbed Varen's Wall, in order to protect the region should Leovic's forces arrive. Then we have the Colovian Revolt. Varen summoned the military forces of the Colovian Highlands. Secretly, he also contacted Abner Tharn, who would later become one of his 5 companions, for assistance to depose these foul strangers from the north. Varen based his rebellion out of the city of Bruma, and subsequently won many victories across Cyrodiil. In 2E 576, Varen and his army stormed the Imperial City, before breaking into the White Gold Tower and driving his sword into Leovic's heart at the foot of the Ruby Throne, thus instantly killing him and immediately declaring himself emperor. For Abner's loyalty and assistance in the rebellion, Varen agreed to take Leovic's widow, Clivia Tharn, as his bride. That's pretty weird. For your loyalty, I will marry your ex. It's kind of weird. Am I not reading that correctly? Yeah. Very strange. Due to the mass amount of casualties during the uprising, Varen converted the market district of the Imperial City into the Memorial District, filling it with mass graves. Varen's rule went mostly without problems, but he was constantly worrying about him being an illegitimate ruler as he was not Dragonborn. Believing that only a Dragonborn can rightfully take the Ruby Throne in 2E 577, he formed the 5 companions to find the Amulet of Kings, after the Altmer sorcerer Metamarco convinced him that he knew a ritual that would allow Varen to become Dragonborn. After hearing of this, he set out on a 2-year quest to find the amulet with his 5 companions, Varen himself, the half-giant warrior Laris Titanborn, the sorcerer Metamarco, Sai Sahan, a Red Guard Blade Master, and the captain of his personal Dragon Guard and Elder Chancellor Abner Tharn. The 5 were able to recover the amulet and begin the ritual in 2E 579. They gathered at the Temple of the One in the Imperial City and began to perform the ritual. While Tharn held the amulet, Varen asked Akatosh to rightfully grant his claim as emperor by making him a Dragonborn. At that moment, Metamarco immobilized everyone present and revealed his true intentions. He was an agent of Moloch Baal, and the ritual did not reignite the dragon fires, but in fact did the opposite, destroying the ancient barriers shielding Mundus from the forces of Oblivion, and thus allowing Moloch Baal to begin the Plane Meld, a forceful attempt to drag Nirn out of Mundus and into his home realm of Cold Harbor. This event was known as the Soul Burst, and it shook every corner of Tamriel. Subsequently, Laris was captured and brought into Cold Harbor. Sai Sahan fled with the amulet and managed to hide it in Sangrator, before also being captured later on. Metamarco summoned his worm cult and turned the Temple of the One into a sacrificial ground, where dozens of souls were harvested and brought to Cold Harbor, and Abner joined him in order to gain his trust and spy on him. Varen, however, disappeared. After the Soul Burst, Varen woke up weak and near death at the Abbey of the Mob Priests, with no memory of his past life as emperor. The Moth Priests took pity on him, assuming he was a lost vagabond, I'm not sure how to say that, and gave him shelter within their establishment. was there where he set eyes on the Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls. That's interesting. That's the name of this. Mysterious artifacts of immense knowledge. You know, I actually didn't know why it was called Elder Scrolls, but here we go. This is why. It was there where he set his eyes on the Elder Scrolls. Mysterious artifacts of immense knowledge and power. He began to study and read the scrolls in order to learn the events of Tamriel, which have happened and have yet to happen, including his life as emperor and his destiny with the vestige. The priests were shocked to discover how quickly he managed to read the scrolls, believing it to be a prophetic sign from the 8 divines. As a result of continuously reading the scrolls, Varen gradually lost his eyesight. He carved himself a staff, which he also used as a walking stick. Blinded, Varen still continued to study the scrolls in his mind's eye, and foresaw the events to come in Tamriel's future. Word of Varen's prophecies began spreading across the land, eventually reaching the Imperial City. When Menemarco discovered this, he arrested the prophet under the grounds of rumor-mongering and treason. The King of Worms had the abbey and its contents burned to the ground, and transferred Varen into the custody of Moloch Baal. Baal then initiated the plain melt upon Nirn and had Varen imprisoned in the Wailing Prison. In 2E582, a mortal was captured and sacrificed by Menemarco. Their soul was brought to the Wailing Prison in Cold Harbor. After being transported to Cold Harbor, a projection of Varen, using the pseudonym the Prophet, appeared before them, giving the mortal the name of Vestige and telling them to find Lyris Titanborn. At the time, Lyris was unaware that the Prophet was her fellow 5 Companions member, Varen. The Vestige journeyed, and we are the Vestige, by the way, when you play the game. The Vestige journeyed through the prison with Lyris after she freed them. They struck down several of Moloch Baal's minions before arriving at the courtyard and destroying a sentinel, a minion made to stop prisoners from escaping. They find that Varen's cell is warded off, so they seek Cadwell for help, which I love Cadwell, by the way, he's hilarious, whom directed the two to the Undercroft. Once Lyris and the Vestige reach Varen's cell, Lyris tells the Vestige that the only way to free Varen is for Lyris to take his place. Lyris then chants for her to take Varen's place in the cell, freeing Varen but imprisoning Lyris. Varen, still concealing his identity, and the Vestige journey to a portal out of Cold Harbor. They strike down the guardian of the portal, and Varen restores the Vestige's corporeal form before they both return to Tamriel in different locations. During his reign as emperor, Varen was considered a good leader, doing what was right for his people. The fact that he was not of dragon's blood continuously pestered him, often causing him to believe he was not a legitimate ruler, and even married Leovic's widow Clivia in an attempt to solidify his title, just as his predecessor had done. Varen founded the 5 Companions in order to find the Amulet of Kings for 2 long years, and during the ritual in which Varen would become a dragonborn, he was betrayed by Menemarco, whom he had blindingly put his trust in. Varen later remarked that his decisions were foolish and taken out of desperation. He later lost his memory following the soul burst and was found outside the Abbey of the Moth Priests. He studied the Elder Scrolls and began to encompass their knowledge by reading them, regaining memories of his past life. However, due to his consistent reading of the Elder Scrolls, he became blind, having to rely on his cane staff in order to be aware of his surroundings. The prophet became a considerably wise man, aware of events that have occurred and events which are yet to occur. He occasionally speaks in riddles and initially keeps his origins a secret. Inside, Varen does not consider himself to be very grand or accomplished, referring to himself as simply a blind old man. He still does what he considers best for the people of Tamriel, ensuring that every step he takes is done to stop Moloch Baal from for merging Nern with his own realm, which he considers mainly his fault. So, that is the story of... Actually, there's more. That is not the complete story. Let's continue then, shall we? So this is going to break down the quests, or his role in the quests, I suppose. So Farron is initially introduced as the Prophet. He contacts the Vestige at their cell in Cold Harbor. Laris Titanport later travels with the Vestige to free him, and the Prophet speaks to them again on their way to Cadwell. Later on in his cell, Laris takes the Prophet's place as a prisoner so that he and the Vestige could escape. Once Farron is freed, he will say, "Freedom, I remember this feeling. It will be fleeting, though, if Moloch Ball has his way." You are then tasked with escorting him to the Dark Anger mooring. At the mooring, Moloch Ball appears and summons the Child of Bones. Once defeated, he summons a Sky Shard for you to absorb, then calls upon Akatosh to open the mooring to Tamriel. After going to the anchor, I'm going to read it as if you've done it. So after you go through the anchor, you arrive in either Stros Mkai, Canarthy's Roost, or Bleak Rock Isle, depending on your alliance. When you regain your consciousness, he tells you the Vestige awakens once again. "Come here, we must speak." He then recommends you explore your surroundings as he organizes a plan to rescue Laris, and contacts you in time. He gives you a sealed urn, and answers questions you may have before departing. Finally, you reach level 5. The Prophet contacts you at the nearest portal to a realm depicting past events. Or rather, I should say, he contacts you at the nearest opens a portal to a realm. It's kind of a weird sentence. He explains to you his story and tells the tale of the 5 companions, concealing the information that he is the former Emperor Baron Aquilarius. The visions in the realm show the events leading up to Plainmail, known as the Soul Burst, the crisis which in turn ended up costing the Vestige their soul. The Prophet tells you that after Laris took his place, she moved to the Foundry of Woe, a location of Cold Harbor dedicated to torture and despair. After Laris is returned to Tamriel, the Prophet is informed that Sai Sahan is alive. The Prophet begins a search for his captured friend, which you help with. The Prophet asks you to investigate the Worm Cult's activity in the nearby city. After speaking to Abner Tharn in the Worm's retreat, you have to give the Orb of Discourse to Farron. Farron asks the Vestige, aka you, to come to the Harborage, where Abner Tharn wants to speak with you. He requests asylum in return for Sai Sahan's location, and Farron tasks Laris and you with retrieving him. After Abner comes to the Harborage, an argument begins with him, Laris, as he doesn't know currently where Sai is. Farron puts an end to the fight and reveals the truth to you, that he is Baron Aquilarius, the previous Emperor of Cyrodiil. After informing Farron that Abner has located Sai in the Halls of Torment, he agrees to help Tharn look for a safe way to break him out. Upon entering the Harborage, Laris and Farron are arguing about traveling to the Halls of Torment in order to save Sai. Farron informs you that they have found the halls and asks you to help either Laris or Abner to accompany them. Once a companion is picked, he opens a portal to the halls and says, "Go with Laris or Abner. Save Sai Sahan from the Halls of Torment." After reaching the final location where Sai is being held prisoner, doppelgangers of Farron appear, asking Sai why he didn't trust them. Once all the enemies are defeated, Sai is informed Farron is alive, much to his relief. A projection of Farron appears, saying, "You have done it. Vestige, bring him through the portal quickly." And he opens up a portal to the Harborage. After returning to it, Farron reveals he knew that the Amulet of Kings is hidden in Sancretor. What else? Sancretor. Farron appears to you later, saying that Sai's strength has returned. At the Harborage, Varen can be spoken to regarding the key needed to access Sangretor, so he reveals that the key is actually a ring bearing the sigil of Stendar. After retrieving it from the Valley of Blades, it must be given to him, which you do. In the Harborage, Varen, then you have the next portion of the quest line. In the Harborage, Varen says that the Amulet of Kings was hidden in Sangretor, so he opens up a portal leading to the fortress. You'll be acquainted by Lyris, Abner, and Sai in the quest to retrieve the amulet. Once it's obtained, it must be returned to Varen back at the Harborage. Varen confirms that Manamarco has been defeated and is now being punished by Molag Bal, which this happens once you go in there. It doesn't detail all the things that happen in the quest. He gives you the option of seeing it in a vision, where the King of Worms is being whipped by skeletons as Molag Bal watches. Sai-san then speaks to you, offering them a place as a fifth companion, as the replacement for the traitor Manamarco. Abner Tharn says for the ritual required to stop the Plainmouth, he requires a sacrifice. Varen, along with Lyris and Sai, offer their services for this task, and I believe you have to choose. Varen is one of the candidates eligible to be sacrificed in order to power the Amulet of Kings. They can all be chosen to be spoken to. After the ritual is completed, you will be granted with the imbued with the power of Akatosh. After Molag Bal is defeated and Meridia is spoken to, you return to the Harborage. If Varen is sacrificed, you will receive his restoration staff, the Emperor's blessing. If Varen is spared, he will decide to leave and fades into the unknown. Regardless of whether he died or not, a vision of Varen will appear to you at the end of Orsinium DLC if you have completed the main quest line. He will warn you that the Daedric princes are planning another attack on Tamriel, specifically the Great Deceiver, the Sower of Discord, and the Matron of Darkness. This is a hint towards the Daedric War story arc involving Clavicus Vile, Mephala, and Nocturnal. He says the war will begin when the gates of Sothis' lost city are reopened. Well, that was quite a handful there. I know I said I was going to look at different characters, but this is an Elder Scrolls lore video, and I figured the best way to talk about the lore was to really talk about one of the main characters, or the main character, which is Varen Aquilarius. Everything in the story sort of centers around him. He really ties everything together, and he sets everything into motion. Not to mention him reading the Elder Scrolls, which is the name of the series. So it only made sense to really focus on him for the most part. I would read the stories of the other 5 companions, or the other 4, but it's going to be pretty much redundant because they all kind of have the same story, plus a few extra details about their background, I suppose. But I can save that for another time. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this environment to be relaxing. I thought that it would be a nice touch. I recently purchased this house with my crowns. Actually, you know what? Let me give you a quick tour. This is the fireplace. We've got a nice little seating area here. I turned off the sound effects of me walking, by the way. So, nice little kitchen area here. A little storage closet. Go upstairs, and then we have the bedroom, which I think is pretty neat. It was furnished, so we've got one bed, another fireplace. This leads outside, and this is the bedroom. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Quite like it. It's a Nord house, so it fits my aesthetic right now as my character, as far as my character goes anyway. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hey, if you like this, let me know, and I could do more Elder Scrolls videos, more lore videos. I'm sure there's a lot we can talk about, so I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Have a good night, and take care.